Good morning. It's Dr. John Taylor Kent bringing to you the news here in about the middle of the night. It's cool enough I can shut the air conditioner off. The noise of that thing, it's really invasive. I can't wait to get in a little bit better situation so I don't have to put up with that noisy air conditioner. Message I posted before was a message that occurred to me in the middle of the night, in my sleep, in a dream. And it's too late to change course. I think that refers to this nation. I think that refers to our leadership. I think that refers to the people that are in charge. I don't think it's a good thing, not at all. The Edomites run the world, they run the planet. They're doing their best to take care of the rest of us, and that's not in a good way. Is it really too late to change course? Well, it appears that these people that are running this administration in this country of ours, what's left of it, have no other plans, have no ability to reverse, to correct themselves and to change course. So they are going to do their best to harm us. Now, I heard something last night that really, really bothered me, and I don't think it was accurate, but that the death rate is up 1,100%. I didn't question the statistic, but the last ones I heard is that the death rate was up a little bit more than 160%, which is not quite double the annual deaths. And of course, our media is totally controlled, so this is not going to be brought to your attention very well at all. How do you find out the stats? Well, the insurance industry, the life insurance industry in particular, are the ones with those stats because they're paying out at a much greater rate than ever before. Too late to change course. They started a war with Russia. Now, you need to understand something. We can talk about that, and that's the surface dynamic. However, I think we need to look at this from another perspective. That's the inner dynamic. So we have sanctioned Russia to destroy their economy. What's really happened is they've destroyed the United States economy and the economy of Europe, and especially Germany. So that's the effect. That's the fruit of what they're doing right now. That's the fruit of this horrible war they decided to wage in the Ukraine. And now they've opened up another front by sending the Wicked Witch of the West over to Taiwan. They sent Kamala Harris to the Ukraine where she laid the gauntlet down. Basically put this NATO stuff right in their face, right in Putin's face, pretty much forcing him to act, begging them to start that war for them. Now they're over in China trying to start that war. The Bible's got quite a few formulas, if you will. And one of those is for the destruction of nations. And that starts with pestilence, famine, and the sword. So we've had pestilence. It looks like they've been destroying the food supply, interfering with crops in any which way they can, interfering with slaughterhouses, interfering with food processing, major processing plants, destroying these things, blowing them up, starting fires. And even that war with Russia stops us from bringing in fertilizers, which we desperately need to keep up the crops. And we're not going to be able to keep up the crops. So they're working on that one right now. So maybe there's no time to stop the famine. Or maybe there's still time to stop the war. What I want is I want a nation of Bible readers because I believe that Bible reading produces fruit. How does it produce fruit? Well, you'll understand the conflicts better. You will not be so easily deceived, and I think that's important right now. And the average American, and I have to include myself in that, goes along with things and does not investigate things very deeply. The evil that abounds is so profound. There's so many levels to it. You unpeel one layer and you think, well, that's it. Oh no, there's more to be learned yet. And that's what we live in today. And as I've stated, we're ruled by murderers and thieves. That's quite accurate. I see that during the last few years, many people who have brought alternative energy sources and transportation power plants and all of that have died. Been killed is what it really is. It's not that they've just died, they've been murdered. There's new technologies that it turns out our government has suppressed for decades that they suppressed because it would have upset the apple cart too much. It would have upset. It was too profoundly earth-shattering. It would have changed paradigms. It would have produced far less what they call greenhouse gases. Another one of their lies. It would have saved a lot of energy. It would have been cheaper for the American people. It would have been easier on everybody and everything, except they thought that it would be too disruptive. Therefore, they made it illegal as a matter of national security, keeping the status quo and keeping the peasants down. It's too late to change course. This administration isn't going to fight Russia. Sure, we've got a war going on there, and they aren't out there to fight the Chinese. I think this administration is focused on the people here. It's we at home ourselves. Everything that they're doing is impacting us. I would like to be able to say it's not well thought up and that they're incompetent, but it is well thought out. And they are doing exactly what they want to do. They're having the impact they want to have. So we're in bad trouble. Everybody's hunkering down. So do yourself a favor. Do me a favor. If you're going to hunker down, at least educate yourselves. And if you're going to spend your money, spend it wisely. And I think the best investment you can make is in yourself. So I'm going to beg you, I'm going to ask you to consider buying the Bible that I'm fortunate enough to be able to represent. It's the only product that I sell. And that is the proper name version of the King James Bible. I've got to have a bunch of people who are trying to explain things that are in the Bible to me, and people want to dominate. They're so damn narcissists. They're such lovers of themselves that they've got to be the center of attention. I'm just going to provide information. I'm not going to try to dominate. I don't need to participate in a conversation that's not a properly balanced conversation. So I was asked, how do you pronounce the proper name of God? That's all I wanted to get across. I didn't want to give a big lecture on it. I just wanted to state the basic proper way that to the best of my understanding, which is Yahweh, and then from there give a couple of the parameters, a couple of limitations, but somebody had to jump in there and give a long ass explanation. It made some sense, but I didn't need to hear it. The other person didn't need to hear it either. We just need to know the simple name. And you're going to say, big deal. What's the big deal about Yahweh? Why is it so important? Well, the number one thing is we've been deprived of that name. Since 275 BC, it's been removed from the Bible. And now we have it back. It's important because early in the book of Genesis, it says at the end of one of the chapters, And at that time, people began to call upon the name of Yahweh. Now, there's another group of people that give us a different version of that, slightly different. And they make a point that if you're going to, if you love God, then you should know his name, his proper name. What do you really call him? And I think that point is well taken and well intended. They're trying to beat you up with the Bible in some ways, in my opinion, on that. And I think that it might be important from the point of the first commandment: thou shalt have no gods before me. Okay, well, all right, if you're not going to have any gods before Yahweh, then I guess you should know his name and use it. But I think the most important thing is the fact we've got it, and it's in its proper place in the Bible, and it should be in our proper place in society. Oh, I wish that you would all be reading my particular Bibles, because I think there's less that can go wrong. You're not going to make as many assumptions as I have. You're going to be able to read a more accurate Bible, and you're going to be able to think more accurately and more deeply about the truths it is trying to convey, and it conveys those truths at several levels, at several times. So you can learn a lot from it. And you can access the mind of God, and maybe you can appeal to Yahweh for some relief. The old Israelites used to get into trouble, and they would appeal to Yahweh. They would cry out to Yahweh, cry out to God, and God would send a judge and step in. Well, in many ways, we could be in the same sort of a period whereby we need judges to step in and accomplish things and to save us. I'm praying that it's not too late to change course. The world knows that Biden was not duly elected president. It was the big lie. It was a big fraud. It was voter fraud. Everybody knows that, but for some reason, it's too late to change course. I don't think it's too late to change course. You just declare the fraud for what it is, and you round people up and you charge them for their crimes. Everybody that was involved, the mules that were involved in the vote fraud, deserve a minimum of 1 year in prison. And I don't think we ought to wait on that justice. I think we ought to identify them by their cell phones and round them up and put them in prison for their own safekeeping. Publicize who the hell they are so they can't walk out there in public again, and they'll want to be in protective custody. And we can give them credit for time served, but I want them in prison. And if the states and the counties aren't willing to do that, then I think the federal government has to do it, if the federal government wants to maintain credibility, and if it's not too late, that they actually can correct themselves and actually do the will, abide by the will of the people for a change. The electorate has not been in charge of this nation since at least 1913. Back when Mandel House, who likes to call himself colonel, who never had the rank of colonel, engineered that election and subsequent elections to get his man elected president and to manipulate and change the whole thing. That's why we ended up with the Federal Reserve, which basically was stealing the wealth and stealing the people and taking over the whole entire damn country. I almost said something that I shouldn't say, but I think those of you who follow my train of thought know exactly the words that enter my mind. Well, I wish you would join me in reading the Bible. I wish that you would join me in understanding that they lie in the big box churches, that the churches down in the corners do not preach the truth, that these big religious organizations, the Roman Catholic Church, doesn't tell the truth about what's in the Bible. They have all kinds of things they've dreamt up and conjured up on that so they can control that group. Yes, religion's been used to control man. That's why they gave us a different Bible. That's why they changed words, made subtle changes, and edited the heck out of the Bible so that we wouldn't be able to get the meanings. So another point I want to make is that the Ten Commandments are in line with natural law, not outside of it. It's basic natural law. That's what we have to live by. It's a good guideline. If you steal from somebody else, the other party might kill you. Well, you do another man's wife, the other party might kill you. You murder somebody, the other party might try to stop you or try to kill you or kill you. It's just natural cause and effect. I don't think that's all that sophisticated. What do you think? You think that the Ten Commandments are that much out of line? Do you think the creation is that much out of line that we have to correct Yahweh and set his creation in order, that we can go against the grain? That we can do the unnatural? That we can force the unreality upon the poor public? Can we insist that they not believe their own eyes? That they not see that the money is being debased, and that they not see that they have ripped off everything from us and they've destroyed our institutions? There is no law enforcement or justice in the nation anymore. Why don't we have a return to our militias? At least in the militias, you can enforce the law, you can keep local rule, you can clean things up, and by being a good member, a member in good standing of the militia, a man's got to mind his business properly. He has to be acceptable to the others in the militia, or you kick him out. I think we have maybe 6 weeks until the food markets collapse and our money markets, the foundations of what we call money, the debt markets start to cave in. We've got a horrible, ugly system. All these mortgage appears that they are all sold to the government. So welcome, folks. Welcome, comrades, to the United Socialist States. United Socialist States of America, the USSA. The government owns everything because of these debt instruments, and we've been enslaved by it all. Talk about a giant trap. Talk about something that our founders would never tolerate. They'd never tolerate a man being taxed on his daily wages by which he supports himself. Why? Because otherwise you make him dependent upon the public trough, which is where we are. Everybody wants a handout for the government. I'd like the government to get out of the way. And the government's been in the way for so long, in such terrible ways, that maybe it's too late. So how about you? Is it too late for you to change your ways? Is it too late for you to have a change of heart? Is it too late for you to correct yourself? Is it too late for us to correct that errant election? Now, I don't think that much of Donald Trump. He's controlled by the same jackasses that run the planet in the background, and run it in the foreground, and run it for our masters, for the keepers, for the owners, if you will, today. The owners of the plantation. But it was the will of the people that he remain and continue as president. It would be wonderful to see the man return to the office And it'd be wonderful to see most of Congress arrested, including Mike Pence. Failure to abide by the oath of office, is that not a crime? Might it not be treason? A felony? Might it not be punishable by the ultimate punishment? Then we have other errant governors that went after President Trump when he stated truths. And these governors aided and abetted in voter fraud, especially that jackass in Arizona that calls himself Doug Ducey, whose real last name is Roscoe. I'm surprised the people of Arizona still tolerate that guy. And then what's Trump do? He endorses some bad candidates around the country and they win. So it looks like the next governor of Arizona is going to be this stupid-ass woman who was in the media, who was a professional liar, part of the Mockingbird media, who actually went door to door for Barack Hussein Obama, who is the president right now. Whether you like it or not, you don't want to admit it, but he's in his third term. She's also anti-gun, and she's going to head up Arizona. Great. Oh, and she's funded by George Soros. It's like that sheriff they put in place of Joe Arpaio. Don't get me wrong, Joe Arpaio had his problems, and he was compromised. Midnight Productions, he let that stuff go on under his nose. One of his staff helped get the money to him, I'm sure. Snuff films. They didn't go away, by the way. They just changed management and have a new name. The drugs continue to pour into the country in greater numbers. People walk our streets doing these weird dances as their bodies kink out and they move in grotesque movements. They've lost fine motor controls because they've damaged their nervous system so much. And these are young kids that can't walk right, got weird gaits. You know, their legs sort of kink out. They don't line up and move smoothly. They kink, snap around, and they smile on their face like they're really having a good time. My God, I bet they're having a good time in their minds, but to the rest of us, it's a weird kind of a dance that they do. It's very macabre. We can't even control our own border because those people in the Democrat Communist Party won't allow it. What a horrible group of people. And now we're starting to identify some particular men in office that need to come out, like Adam Schiff. And people aren't willing to talk about the obvious, that this is a subset, a small group of Jews, not the Jews proper. Don't say that, because that's not accurate. The Jews proper aren't that stupid as a people. They aren't that vicious as a people. So this little group has been misusing them. Why can't we get rid of the dual Israeli citizens and kick them out of every and any government position, any position of public trust, any elected position? They shouldn't be allowed to be dual citizens. Well, I've gone long again, so we're back to our morning musings, folks. Please like the video. I need a little bit of attention. I'm nowhere near in any of the algorithms. I'm still at the bottom of the barrel from what I can tell. I got a few views. I've actually got some subscribers. This is going up on Dr. John Taylor Kent. I don't have very fast internet, so it takes hours for this thing to upload. But it will upload as I go back to sleep here. And Enjoy what's left of the peace and quiet in the dead of the night, in the still of the night. Isn't it time to pray to your God? Who is your God? Isn't it time to learn Creator Father's heavenly name, Yahweh? And to not rationalize it so much, but to just call upon Him, call upon His name, and realize that in the old text, it probably is a plural. There's more to Him than just a singular solidarity. I really can't tell. The way the old language was presented to us, the verbs, from what I can tell, look like they're all plural. Yahweh's? No, I think there's a quality to Yahweh that is a little bit beyond our comprehension because of the limitations of language. So let's accept some things as a great mystery. You want his short name, his nickname? Ja. Just like the German word for yes. Ja. And there's a reason the Germans have the name Ja for yes as an affirmation. And in case you're wondering, in the original King James version of the Bible, the word Yah, Y-A-H, in all capital letters, appears in the Bible one time, one entire time in the whole Bible. They let it slip. It slipped through the cracks. So we have Yahweh's abbreviated nickname in the book of Psalms in the original King James Bible. Wonder if that one slipped past Ptolemy, but that was enough to get my attention, and that got the attention of others, and that's what confirms to a large extent the fact that the proper name is Yahweh. I'm so grateful that it was in the Bible that one time because it makes more sense now. We're at the end of an earth age. It's not the end of the earth. Unless these jackasses that are in office get their way, they could interfere with this earth age and this transition. And it's possible. I think it's very possible that the earth could lose its atmosphere during this transition. I think that's what they might have done to the planet Mars when they destroyed the atmosphere and thereby all of those people in those cities on the surface of Mars. We know this because the cities are laid out in grids. The streets are straight and at 90-degree angles, just like the cities tend to be in our major cities today. The streets in our cities are laid out mostly at right angles. So we can see those. There's other structures that are a lot like the structures are on this planet as well. There's pyramids. I think there might even be a sphinx up there. The Earth Age is upon us. And at the end of the Earth Age, the Earth's children are not as strong. Men that the Earth produces are not as strong as her children at the beginning of an Earth Age. So we are going to see an improvement upon the human species because very few of us will survive this transition. I think we're headed for a big transition, not a small one. A big one meaning rather than just a continent breaking off and there being a flood of water washing across the planet, across the land, I think we're going to have volcanoes dumping ash across the lands, blackening out the skies for a while, beginning another ice age. Yes, the earth is spinning up. And the problem with that is at some point, the crust of the earth and the mantle and the core are going to separate a little bit. The boundaries in between those are going to be lubricous. They're going to become slippery, and things are going to shift. And so the speed of the Earth's rotation is speeding up and it's setting records. So the earth is getting ready to recycle itself and to throw us all off as the bunch of fleas that we are, as we are fairly insignificant upon the surface of the planet. It's happened many times before, and I think the evil ones, some of their children survive these earth ages as well. I think they keep coming down through the ages, and we keep repeating this same dance where technology advances to a certain extent, but they're able to suppress the technology, control the technology, and dominate because of that. They hide things from us. Our history is bunk. I believe it was Henry Ford said that. And it is bunk. All right. I hope my voice is picking up strong enough on this. Please give me some feedback. There's occasionally a comment that makes some sense. I'm just going to keep up these videos. Take the link down below. You'll find the Bible for sale at about a third of what it should be selling for. But it's there nevertheless, and it's cheap. It's way under $40 to get the large print, the fancy edition with the gilded edges and the ribbon in it. Nice big presentation page, suitable for being a family Bible, suitable for a gift for somebody. And you are able to read these things for yourselves. We want to get these out there as fast as we can. It is a much better version of the Bible, and it changes things. It's far more accurate than the original King James Version. So the improvements are there. Join me becoming a Bible reader. Join me appealing to Yahweh, calling upon His name, calling Him by His name, asking Him to step in and intervene, asking Him to give us good leaders. It's going to take a long time to correct the course of this country, if we can do it. We do need a reset. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to go to the original structure that our founding fathers gave us, which would get rid of the professional politicians, get rid of these publicans, is what the Bible calls them. We do need to get rid of them. The 13th Amendment is a wonderful way to intervene. Restore the original 13th Amendment, which they've errantly called us titles of nobility or something like that. And it doesn't have much to do with titles of nobility. It has everything to do with the separation of powers, which requires that the attorneys be put in their place, which is something I think most of us are going to enjoy. I would think the attorneys would enjoy it as well, because it'd actually be helping people and be doing more of an honest living and an honest profession. You know that physician's desk reference? You know those warning slips on all of those medications, or what passes for medication today, these inferior products? They're not written by physicians, folks. They're written by the attorneys. All of that stuff, that medical magic, came out of Khazaria. Their headquarters are still in ancient Khazaria, in Kiev. Those people back there, the Khazarians, had horrible reputations. Cliff High had some wonderful things, very excellent perspective about that. I suggest you go watch his things. And remember the name Khazaria Mafia, because they run the world today. Yes, we're run by the bad guys. We're ruled by murderers and thieves. And if a man is willing to steal from you, he's willing to kill from you, because he doesn't want to get caught. He doesn't want to have to pay the price. Folks, enjoy the day. Yahweh bless.